Hello again, and welcome to Season Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. We are going to shortly watch the spokesman for LP, Yunusa Tanko, I think it is his name. And he expresses the disappointment of the youths in the elections, recent elections that have just gone past. What we're trying to do here, my own personal view about it is what I think my own personal view is this: we need a referendum to decide if we want to be in Nigeria or not. That's my personal view. The constitution itself is flawed, and there is no, as far as I can see, there is no true independence between the judiciary, executive, and the legislature. There's no clear line. It seems as though the executive still controls the judiciary and the legislature to a very large extent. That's what I think. As for the legitimacy of the elections and all that, that's open to interpretation, however we want to say it. But one thing I will say is that the process that we went through, the elections are elections. They've happened. President Tinubu has been sworn in. Whether or not you agree or disagree with it, that is the processing that has been put in place and has been used to judge these elections. Now, can it be better? Definitely. And can things be done much? Absolutely. But for me, all of that, above all, I think we need to insert in the constitution a referendum, because that constitution is a fraud that was imposed on the people. But anyway, putting that aside, let's listen to Yunusa Tanko, I think it is. So
it's fine at that time, and you can't begrudge anyone for that. But then the thing is, the process is an all-important process. Yeah. It's because no matter what transpired at that time, I mean, everybody saw the camaraderie. They saw how they were eager to participate. They saw how when they went out there to vote, you could stand behind. So that process, I think, is central to a lot of things.
Very, very important.
With the way everything turns out. To the extent that even the result at that time, to a large extent, wouldn't even matter insofar as they saw the process. So how far away are we now, then and now?
Well, it's a very, very, in fact, it's like a hand of Barbariga. They're far apart. So with this particular phase, when they say that, no, there's no perfect elections and all of those ones, it's a phrase used by those who want to feel that, okay, we've already gotten it anyway, so there's no perfect election. It's a wrong statement. If there's a particular threshold that you cannot, you have to surpass it to give a credence to an election. It's not like you having an exam. The moment you did not pass like 40, they will give you, of course, a P and a C and a B and an A. The moment you get a B, you can easily forgo of anything and say, look, this election was credible. But here we had an election that was not even surpassing the P level. Yes, because the process that you mentioned were being faulted. A lot of the process were supposed to have been followed 1, 2, 3, 4. And that, of course, comes in with the statements being made by the electoral umpire. For me, ab initio, there has been a fundamental issue. The fundamental issue actually started from the issue of Uwe's Justice Uwe's report. How I wish we implement it, it could have been better. Because we have an independent electoral commission that is heavily tilted to a particular way. Whether we like it or not, I might be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Going by that particular position that we have in our electoral laws and selecting the INEC chairman, it is faulty. Very, very faulty. We almost have a mouthpiece of the present president being a commissioner in INEC. If not for the huge crowd by the Nigerian people, it ought not to be. That's process one. Process two would have been that, okay, how do you intend to carry out the election? At what cost? And are you sure that the people's vote will be counted? And then they can own up to it? That's another position. How do we go about going into it in case there are disputes? Believe me, Chamberlain, if we had credible elections, many of our lawyers would have been out of business. Because election would have been finished at the polling unit, and then me and him would have congratulated each other, just like you just mentioned a football match. We'll punt each other and say, man, you tried, you did very well. But it's not so today. There's a bitter war being fought at the electoral panel.
Well, this is not the first elections being conducted since 1993. There have been several others.
True.
And the question when I asked you earlier as to whether or not there are any that we can say around, and it would seem that we all can agree that the results, were a true reflection of what transpired on election day. Are you saying that there's been none since 1999?
No, compared to what had happened in 1993, you are asking me a question whether there was anyone close to that. No, for me, no. Honestly,
Well, what do you think is responsible for that?
No, it's just the execution of the agreed process.
Not even 2015 elections.
I don't. At that point in time, there were heavy use of funding and manipulation, also stealing of ballot boxes. We saw them here. We are seeing intimidation.
In 2015 elections?
There were stealing boxes.
With the introduction of the card reader?
The card reader was an introduction to just smoothing up the process. But there were both boxes. Even now, didn't you see ballot boxes being snatched? Even at the 2019, 2023, the ballot box being destroyed right in front of us.
So it seems as though I recall when in the 2019 election, because I was part of that with the African Action Congress party. I was part of the discussions and involvement closely with Showore and others in terms of the elections. There was a mass scale rigging. People were chased away. That election was a fraud. That was a blatant fraud, and we all know it. There was not an election. That was a selection. So, like I said, until we have an independent judiciary, executive, and legislature, those two, judiciary and executive and legislature, the judiciary and the legislature have to be truly independent, because the executive seems to have a control over those two, and that is not supposed to be the case when you look at what is defined as the Constitution. That's a problem. So, and this is why it's kind of very, very, the whole situation now, for me, I think going forward, there has to be a much better plan in terms of elections, but more importantly, the voice of the people must be heard. Again, I call people to speak on going for a referendum. And that referendum has to be in our Constitution, because that way people can decide for themselves. Right now, we are being forced together by a fraudulent constitution drawn up by 40 men in a room without the people being knowing. And then they say, we the people having Solemn Square. We didn't. This was done in a back room. So that process alone that's why it's happening with these elections like this. A constitution done in a back room will give you results that done in the back of a paper in the back room somewhere. So that is the reality of what we're faced with. But anyway, let's listen on to the discussion.
You saw somebody carrying a ballot box and running.
So when I asked that question, I said, are you sure that you're not also using the eyes of youth? Because sometimes, youth tends to see things in a very ideal manner. And as you rightly pointed out, in that era, there was no social media. It is what transpired in your area that you would report. That's what you'll remember. That's what will be etched in your memory.
So 1 second, we'll be back in a minute. Something's going on here. Let me just... I'll be back in a minute. Just give me a minute. It's just it's loading up some issue here. I'm hoping it clears itself off quickly. I'll do this quickly then in that case.
In your memory. What will be etched in your memory.
So let's go back again. Sorry about that.
But that's what will be etched in your memory.
It will clear up in a minute. Just give me a minute. It's some issue that will clear up. It's loading up slowly. So just bear with me. So like I said, the comments I made are still valid. Yes, June 12 has come and almost gone now, and we're still talking about democracy. But I think the real democracy is when the people's voices are heard via referendum. So I think just saying June 12 now is almost like trying to drown out the clamor for the people's voices to be heard. In my own opinion, I think we need to look at that from that point of view. I don't know what's going on here. Sorry about this. Let me just check what's going on here. 1 second. Something's going on, and I don't know what it is. Just give me a minute. Give me a second, please.
Judgment that
okay. Let's have a look at this. 1 second. So let's hear it again.
Eyes of youth. Because sometimes, youth tends to see things in a very ideal manner. And as you rightly pointed out, in that era, there was no social media. It is what transpired in your area that you would report. That's what you'll remember. That's what will be etched in your memory. I'm sure that there must have been reports of where things did not go as perfect as you would like to remember in 1993. That didn't invalidate the general nature of the total acceptability of the elections.
Because at that particular point in time, the process was almost similarly to be accepted by everybody. In this case, it's different. You also don't forget that it was here some of us have been agitating that our youth have been docile, they are not being involved into politics. We were crying that they were not involved, people should encourage them to be part of the politics. Now they decided to be part of it. So looking at it even from their eye will have been an added plus to our democracy, seeing that we are grooming those younger ones that will take over from our leadership from tomorrow. And they're saying it has to start from now. So we need to start looking at it from the perspective of the Nigerian youth, how they feel. They feel very, very bad about the process at this particular point in time. So if there is a way in which we can appeal to their minds, making sure that probably the judiciary will have another point of view of trying to correct some of these wrongs so that they can have a little bit of trust into the process. As it is today, they are looking at it that anybody can just come in, whether you are qualified or not qualified, it doesn't matter. As long as you have your money, you can become anything.
We'll still have more elections coming through. We'll have Bayelsa, we'll have Kogi, we'll have some elections coming through. And for every election, we always want to do better than we've done before. I mean, INEC will always have that meetings and come up with several measures to see how we can improve. What, in your estimation, do you think we need to do to ensure that elections are better moving forward?
Well, I think most times we miss the point.
This video is going to come.
Inspired at that time, and you can't begrudge anyone for that. But then the thing.
So let me just. I think I'm not going to play anymore. We're done with that now, I think. The point I wanted to make was just that the process right now. I'm for Yoruba Nation, and I don't think the process, however way you look at it, it's not a truly fair process in terms of the independence of the judiciary and the legislature, and that's problematic. When you have that situation, then anything can happen, which is what is happening, I think. I'm not going to, like I said, President Bush sworn in as the president, and I don't see how that is going to be changed, one way or the other. But going forward, I would hope that we insert in that constitutional referendum so that the voice of the people will be heard first thing first. It must be heard. Then everything else will then fall in line behind that because they will respect that. Right now, something they wrote themselves, they are disregarding, and that is what is happening. And that's for all of the political parties, not just one. So that's just my take. I don't know how you say it. Please do share this broadcast. You're watching Citizen Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. The youths are disappointed. I understand that, and in many respects. But again, that's one of the reasons why we're asking for people to participate in their governance. Let me take this opportunity to
a secret history that has been lost to mankind.
Sorry about that. I don't know
think
what's happened.
It is the process. It's an all-important process.
Yeah.
So let me just quickly do something here. I don't know what happened there. So what I will do, I want to just show you this quickly.
Whenever we need to be able to imagine this history as a
Because no matter what transpired at that time,
possibility. I say it that way because
sorry about that. I'm trying to take this away because I don't want that information. That's not what I wanted. That's nothing to do with it. So this is what I wanted to focus on. Here's what I wanted to focus on. This is the one that you need to remember. Everybody, please share this with your family and friends. Take a screenshot of those two key sections of the Constitution. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this Constitution, derives all its powers and authority. Section 14.2a, 14.2c. The participation by the people in the government shall be in accordance with the provisions of this Constitution. Those are two powerful information that we need to share with all citizens so we can begin to hold our governance to account. That's the first place to start. When the people now know they have this power, they can now begin to check within the Constitution what has failed them. When they now know something has failed them, they are more confident to go forward for the referendum. A few of us saying it now will not make sense to them. That is why they have to be involved in that process. When you're involved in the process and you understand what's going on, you can more collectively, from one local government area to another, you will collectively come together and demand that your House of Rep, your senators, your local government chairman, your senator, and your governors, that they do your bidding, because you understand that sovereignty belongs to you. So that is what I want to bring, just want to remember, also to remember in all of this. Whatever else is happening right now as citizens, if we focus our energy on exercising our sovereignty and participating in governance by holding all of them to account, we can begin to control our own destiny. Right now, we are leaving our destiny in the hands of those who are keeping us in the dark, those in government. And we need to participate in our governance. That's the only way we'll get infrastructure, road, water, light, school, bridges, healthcare. It doesn't matter who's president, or who's in. It doesn't matter. It's the process. It's our participation in that process, active participation, that is of paramount importance right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Citizen Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. When you get the broadcast, please do share and share. I hope you found it beneficial. I think this is what the youth can take out of this. This is an information that they must use to hold and go back to all of the local government areas and hold all of the elected officials and appointed officials to account, because sovereignty belongs to us collectively. We need to use that sovereignty collectively in all our communities. From one local government area to the next, we need to stand collectively together and hold those who elect office to account. Without that, there will be no improvement. So that's just my take. I hope you found this informative. You're, of course, watching Citizen Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. The song is How Long Una Go to Suffer? A song I wrote, I sang. And it speaks to what is going on. How long una go to suffer? I think whichever party and everything else that is in place now, without us actually having a referendum in place to change this constitution, nothing is going to function at all. Nothing. The voice of the people must be heard. What's your take? You're watching Citizen Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. Thank you for watching. Bye. Bye for now.